It's official. We have a shocking new report as it pertains to Damian Lillard and his future. And this has fans absolutely fired up. We're going to break down exactly what that report is and discuss what it means going forward as huge changes are imminent for this Milwaukee Bucks team. So stay tuned for all that in this episode, folks. Before we get into it, we're about to hit 3,000 subscribers. I know it's been a disappointing postseason thus far, but if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Your guys' support has been unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, a ton to go over today. Now, obviously, we had some unfortunate news yesterday that it was feared that Damian Lillard had suffered a bad injury, and the report just dropped from Shams revealing that that is indeed the case. It dropped just moments ago. Just in, Milwaukee Bucks star Damian Lillard has been diagnosed with a torn left Achilles tendon. Sources tell ESPN. MRI today revealed the severity, a devastating end to his season. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is just absolutely heartbreaking. Of course, the Bucks are down 3-1 in the series, and at this point, it'll be very difficult to come back from the 3-1 deficit. Obviously, they were struggling with Damian Lillard a little bit. They won their game, before last, but it is a devastating update from Shams. And of course, I reported, or I guess Crispy Haynes reported in yesterday's, covered in yesterday's video that it was feared to have suffered a ruptured Achilles, but it's, or torn Achilles, sorry. It is official. Dame Lillard's going to be done probably not only in the postseason, there's a good chance he's out the entirety of next year as well. We're going to dive into what this means for, the future of this team, because this quite literally changes everything for this Milwaukee Bucks team. You can look at his stats now. To end the year, he put up 25 points a game. He was solid. He was very, very solid. And as much as his time in Milwaukee has kind of been tainted a little bit by injuries. Literally last season, the postseason, him and Giannis barely played together. This year in the postseason, him and Giannis barely played together. Back-to-back years against the Pacers now. That they're going to get eliminated, most likely by the Pacers. It was just, when the trade happened, you kind of saw the vision a little bit, and ultimately, we know how that trade went down in hindsight. Jrue Holiday going to the Celtics has built a bit of a dynasty there. Ultimately, probably wasn't the smartest trade, but regardless of that, I respected the swing of John Horst. But at the same time, his future now is in severe jeopardy. Talking about specifically Damian Lillard. His future is in severe jeopardy, not only for next season, but his future in the NBA. And the Bucks' future now is in jeopardy as well with Giannis Antetokounmpo. And we're going to have tons of different videos talking about that because it has become very real now. And there's a very real possibility that the Bucks are going to unfortunately have to entertain massive changes in the offseason because there's no world, assuming Dame misses 2026 or he misses a significant amount of time of 2026, this Bucks team can run it back with Brook Lopez, KPJ, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Gary Trent Jr., a lot of those guys on one-year deals or are pending, free agents. It is absolute disaster for this Milwaukee Bucks team. And I want you guys to let me know down in the comment section below, what do you think is next for the Milwaukee Bucks? Do you think they're going to try to move on from Giannis? Do you think they can still win, of course, this series, albeit without Dame? We know they played very well towards the tail end of the regular season without Damian Lillard on the team. And then some fans are saying the Bucks are better without Dame. Maybe they come out and like Kevin Porter Jr. said, he spoke out and said, we're going to try to win it for, Dame. And there's no other team that has a better chance to come back from a 3-1 deficit besides the Bucks. And then Giannis came out and spoke out about the entire journey of him with Dame. And of course, this was him right after Dame got injured. He said, obviously, seeing anybody going through something like that is tough. You don't want anybody to get hurt. And of course, it is very tough. And you don't know how serious the injury is. It has now come out that it's very serious. You just wish for the best case scenario. But again, it doesn't matter if he's your teammate, your opponent. You don't want to see somebody get hurt. You get down a little bit further. You don't want to go down because you don't know how it's going to affect your career moving forward. And now, of course, talking about his teammate Dame. I've seen the last 2 years, and we've been teammates. Things that he's been through on and off the court, as I said previously, so much respect for him. A lot of people don't see what Dame has to deal with. One of the toughest guys I've ever met. Everybody's going to be there for him, no matter how and what the obstacle is. He's going to overcome it. We're going to help him overcome. And some very, touching good words there by Giannis. But at the end of the day, right, this team is in a very bad spot now. Just a very bad spot. You don't have any prospects. You don't have any young up-and-coming players really that are, serious. And now you're missing Dame. As it pertains to, of course, the playoff game, the next playoff game over the next couple days, they need to try to just come back from the series. The season technically isn't over, and we've seen the team can play well without Damian Lillard. But even beyond that, to think that the Bucks at this juncture can come out and beat, the Boston Celtics, the Cleveland Cavaliers, whoever they end up playing, is going to be, it's a bit of a pipe dream. And I think the team was built with some flaws. We've acknowledged those flaws. It's built with the hope that Dame and Giannis can work together and be one of the best 1-2 punches in the league. Now that Dame is completely done for a while, you have to start entertaining other moves here. And that's going to be the biggest question mark of the offseason, because we look back to yesterday's game and now kind of shifting the focus into the game against the Pacers. They don't have really anything going for them. Kevin Porter Jr. played fantastic. You assume he's going to slide into the starting lineup. Brook Lopez hasn't been good. Kyle Kuzma's been awful. Taurean Prince has been awful. They have so many players who have been awful that you're in a very bad spot. And as you look at Giannis is going to be Giannis. When you go up against a Pacers team who has such a high octane offense and a mastermind and Rick Carlisle on the bench, it is going to be a very difficult task to even hope that the Bucks can take care of business. But at the same time, looking at some of the other players they have, like if they run it back with, let's say, and it wouldn't happen, let's say this exact same team runs it back next season, it's going to be tough for them to break, a non-play-in spot here. You do have one of the best players, the best player in the world, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Other than that, you have zero support now. You don't have Chris Middleton. Gary Trent Jr. will probably walk, but even if you keep him, Taurean Prince has been bad, and we've seen now in the playoffs for years, like this hasn't been working ever since they won the championship. It hasn't been working. They got rid of Drew Holiday, who, boy, could you use him now? Obviously, hindsight of 2020. It has just been a disaster. And you look at Kyle Kuzma in the series, 6 points. He's been bad. He was you gave up assets for him, and you gave up your only decent prospect in AJ Johnson to acquire guys like, to acquire Kyle Kuzma and guys like that. And you give up your one prospect to acquire Kyle Kuzma, and now you have no prospects to even speak of. You don't have a young player, a Luka Doncic. Of course, not many teams do have Luka Doncic. You do have Giannis, who's older. And not to say Luka Doncic is younger by any means, but you don't have any young up-and-coming, Scotty Barnes. Like, even the Raptors, they aren't a very good team, and they're very bad. But you could argue they're better set up for the future than the Bucks are right now. Now, of course, you can trade Giannis Antetokounmpo. And if you do trade Giannis, you're going to get back those young players and those picks. So that would be the saving grace here. But as it pertains to competing over the next few seasons, it's just, I don't see it happening, especially with the way that we saw in the playoffs, how they're performing. Chris Middleton's obviously going to be gone, and there's going to have to be he is gone, but there's going to have to be a major turn for this team. And again, he was feared to have Achilles, and he was bad. And we have Rick Carlisle coming out and saying, I have such great respect for him, all these different things. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute devastating injury. But what's more, devastating here is not necessarily this playoff series without Dame. It's going to be tough to win without him. It's what happens going forward. Are you going to be able to compete, with Dame on the sidelines for an entire year? Is John Horst willing, who just got an extension, by the way, is John Horst willing to trade Giannis Antetokounmpo? Or is he willing to try to rebuild, and then for 2020, the season after next year, 2027, hope that the two sides, Giannis and 36-year-old Dame can come together, and 2 years older Giannis? And it is a very, very tough spot to be in, a brutal spot to be in, and hopefully the Bucks can come out and take care of business in Game 5. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a very, very rough handful of days, weeks, months, and huge changes are imminent for this team.